Hello guys, welcome back. So we'll be starting with a new topic, that is cubital fossa and carpal tunnel. So first let's start with the cubital fossa. Now cubital fossa is situated where? At your elbow joint, okay, at the anterior surface of the elbow joint. Fine. Now let's know about this cubital fossa in detail. So fossa means what? It's a depression. So let's know about its boundaries. So boundaries, when we were doing muscles of our arm, the anterior compartment, I've already said you about the roof and the floor. So let's revise them again. Roof is of cubital fossa is formed by the muscle biceps brachii. Okay. The floor of cubital fossa is formed by brachialis muscle. Fine. So roof and floor are done. Let's know about the lateral and median. What is the important boundaries of it? So first is the lateral boundary. Lateral boundary is by medial side of brachioradialis muscle. Okay, brachioradialis is present in your forearm. You should remember. The medial boundary is by lateral part of pronator teres. Again a muscle of forearm. The superior boundary, roof and superior, they both are different, okay? You should know that. Superior boundary is made up by the imaginary lines which we draw through the two epicondyles. So imaginary lines connecting two epicondyles. Now what epicondyles? Humerus has two epicondyles, a medial one and a lateral one, right? Fine. So let's look at that in the simplified version. So here you can see the anterior surface of the hand. So let me write down at first anterior surface of hand. This is the elbow joint where I have shown these curves of the hand, okay? Purple color is humerus. You can see the epicondyles, right? This is the lateral epicondyle. And this side which you see, this is the medial epicondyle. Okay. I have drawn an imaginary line with a peacock color, right? This is the imaginary line which you're seeing over here, which is connecting two epicondyles, okay? I have drawn the muscles. On the lateral side, you have brachioradialis. What do you have? Brachioradialis. Fine. How you can remember this? On the lateral side of our hand, which bone do you have? You have radius bone. So the muscle is, we're talking about the arm, so brachioradialis, okay? On the medial side, you have pronator teres. This is pronator teres. Okay. So let's look at the boundaries and see if I've written the boundaries over there correctly. So first of all, the roof, you cannot see from here. The roof is biceps brachii, floor is brachialis. That you have to remember. But the important boundaries are the three which I've mentioned, the lateral, medial and the superior one, okay? So starting first with the lateral, it is said that the boundary, the lateral side, we have medial part of brachioradialis. So here you can see brachioradialis coming from the lateral epicondyle. So this is the median side, right? This is the medial side because it's facing towards the medial border. So this is medial boundary of the brachioradialis. The medial boundary for the cubital fossa is by lateral part of pronator teres. So pronator teres, you can see this side of the muscle is towards the lateral side. So it is lateral part of the pronator teres. And superiorly, you have this imaginary line. So you can see the triangle forming over here, right? So this is the triangle. This triangle is the cubital fossa. Now this cubital fossa consists of many things. So let's name them, starting from the medial to the lateral end. So medial to lateral, okay? You have to remember the mnemonic matra. What you can remember? Matra. So here M stands for median nerve. Fine. A stands for brachial artery. Ulnar and radial. Brachial artery divides into ulnar and radial artery in the cubital fossa at the very apex, means over here, okay? At this point, the brachial artery will divide into radius and ulnar artery. T stands for tendon of biceps, which will go and attach itself to the radial tuberosity, which was present in the radius bone. We have done this when we were doing bones of our hand. So, and the R stands for radial nerve. Okay, R stands for radial nerve, you must know. So this was from medial to lateral. Now, they ask you a question like, they'll ask you what is situated medially to tendon of biceps. Then what should be your answer? Tendon of biceps. Now the subject which we are talking about is tendon of biceps. So you have to see on the median side what is present. So this is the median side, this is the lateral side. So on the median side what is present? Brachial artery is present. Similarly, if they ask you about what is lateral to median nerve, then brachial artery is lateral to median nerve. Or if they ask you about brachial artery, what is median to brachial artery, then you must know median nerve is medial to brachial artery. So this is the sequence in which you should remember. That is median nerve, brachial artery, tendon of biceps, and radial nerve. Now there are a few things that you must know about this. That there is one more thing which is present, that is bicipital aponeurosis. It's a question of Croc that what is present in the cubital fossa. So in the option the correct answer is bicipital aponeurosis. This bicipital aponeurosis, it is also known as lacertus fibrosis. What it is known as lacertus fibrosis. Okay. What it does, function. So its function is it separates superficial structures from the deep structures. Okay, so it will form a boundary in which superficial structures remains separated from the deep structures. Okay, so it separates superficial and from deep structures. Superficial from deep structures. Okay, and you should know what do you mean by aponeurosis, right? So what is aponeurosis? It is a white fibrous sheet. It is a white fibrous sheet of connective tissue. Okay, you should know that attaches sheet-like muscle which need wide area for attachment. So this is just for your knowledge that you should know what is aponeurosis. And what is tendon? You should know tendon is it joins muscle and the bone. Then what was ligament? It joins bone and bone. So let's write that also over here. So tendon joins muscle to bone, ligaments join bone to bone, and aponeurosis is similar to tendon, but it is a delicate sheet. Okay, tendon is a tough sheet, whereas aponeurosis is delicate sheet. So as cubital fossa is done, now let's move on with the carpal tunnel. Before moving on to the carpal tunnel, there are a few things you must know. So as we have done carpal bones before in a separate video, so let's revise them again. You remember there was scaphoid, lunate, right? We did with a mnemonic, triquestral, pisiform. So right now I'm considering only the very lateral bones and the very medial bones. Laterally we had scaphoid, proximally, and distally we had trapezium. Proximally we had pisiform on the medial side and hamate on the distal side, right? So this is the lateral portion of our hand and this is the medial portion of our hand. There's a sheet, or you can say, which connects pisiform with the hamate. Pisiform and hamate is connected by flexure retinaculum, a structure which is called as flexure retinaculum. Okay, you must know. And this structure forms the carpal tunnel. It forms carpal tunnel. Now let's look at few more structures which are attaching to the pisiform bone. I'll name this bones first so that you remember it. Scaphoid, trapezium, pisiform, and hamate. Okay, so let's look at the structures attaching to pisiform bone. Pisiform carpal bone. So the first structure is, where is pisiform present? On your medial side. On the medial side, which bone do you have? You have ulnar bone, right? So here we'll attach flexor carpi ulnaris. Inserts here. So insertion for the flexor carpi ulnaris is pisiform. You have pisiform hamate ligament. Okay. Then you have flexor retinaculum, which connects pisiform and the hamate. Now if you have flexor retinaculum, there should be an extensor, right? So you have extensor retinaculum as well. Okay, so these structures are very easy, I guess. So let's move on with the carpal tunnel. Now you know who forms the carpal tunnel. Okay, let's look at the structures which passes over the carpal tunnel. That means carpal tunnel is what? It is a tunnel through which structures will be passing. So you can see in this picture, it is a tunnel. You can see a tunnel through which the structures are passing. So there are structures you can see over here. There are structures passing over it. You can see this red color border, right? There are structures passing over it and there are structures inside passing. Means they are passing through the carpal tunnel. So first let's know about the structures which are passing over the carpal tunnel. So write down the topic, structures passing over. So first is ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerves and its vessels. all passes above the carpal tunnel. Okay, you must remember. Then you have a nerve which is superficial branch of median nerve. Okay, median nerve gives off many branches, among them the superficial branches which passes over the carpal tunnel. Then you have tendon of palmaris longus. Okay, this also doesn't pass through the carpal tunnel. So there are three structures which passes over. Now let's look at the structures which passes through. So write down the topic, structures passing through. You have total 10 tendons, but before moving on with the tendon, let's look at the nerve which is passing. So median nerve, deep branch. Median nerve, which branch? Deep branch will pass through the carpal tunnel. Now let's look at the tendons. Okay. Now which tendons? Here we have done the flexor compartment of the forearm, right? Muscles of the flexor compartment of the forearm. So those muscles have their tendons of their own, right? So those tendons of the flexor compartment of the forearm passes through the carpal tunnel, except one, flexor carpi ulnaris. Except flexor carpi ulnaris, all the muscles will have their own tendon passing through the carpal tunnel. So let's name them. There are 4 tendons of flexor digitorum superficialis. Now it is also known as FDS, you must know. Second is 4 tendons of FDP, that is flexor digitorum profundus. Then we have 1 tendon of flexor pollicis longus, 1 tendon of flexor pollicis longus, and we have 1 tendon of flexor carpi ulnaris, 1 tendon of flexor carpi radialis, not ulnaris, I said wrong, it is radialis. Okay, so how many tendons? 4, 4, 8, 9 and 10. So you have 10 tendons. How many tendons in total? You have 10 tendons. The exception I am writing, except flexor carpi ulnaris, because ulna, regarding ulna you have to remember that regarding ulna nothing is passing, nor the tendon, nor the vessel, neither the nerves. Okay, so it doesn't pass through the carpal tunnel at all. Okay, now this flexor carpi ulnaris, this flexor carpi radialis, you must know that it is the least correct answer. So if they give you an option to roll out which of the tendon doesn't pass through the carpal tunnel, and if they're giving you the option flexor carpi radialis, flexor, all these tendons, okay, so which answer should you mark? You should mark the answer flexor carpi radialis. What should you mark? Flexor carpi radialis. But if they give you flexor carpi ulnaris also in the option, then the correct will be flexor carpi ulnaris. But in case if they don't give you, then you should go with flexor carpi radialis. Okay, so let's look at this picture now. You can see the green color structure, and erase this part. So now let's name them. Okay, starting first with this yellow color thing which you see, this is the median nerve. What it is? It is the median nerve. These are the carpal bones. You can see carpal bones. In this there is formed this tunnel, right? Okay, this tunnel, and you can see this is transverse carpal ligament. This green color which you are seeing, it is transverse carpal ligament. And this white color things which you see inside, these are the flexor tendons. Right now we have done few tendons, right, which are passing through the carpal tunnel. Okay, so this was about the carpal tunnel. You can see how it looks, right? There is something called as common flexor sheath of our hand, which you should know. There's a question regarding that. So starting with the common flexor sheath now, this 4 tendons and 4 tendons together, that is this 8 tendons together forms this common flexor sheath of hand. Common flexor sheath of hand. In Latin, it is also called as vagina communis tendinis musculorum. So remember both the names, English name as well as the Latin name for it. Okay. Now what you have to remember about this, that this 8 tendons, they form a synovial sheath which will go in the little finger. Okay. So forms synovial or flexor sheath which ends in which finger? Little finger. You have to remember little finger, also known as digiti minimi. So write down that Latin word also, because many times they give this as the answer, digiti minimi. Okay, you can see this over here in this picture. So these are the tendons together. Okay, you can see they are merging and they are mostly ending where? In the little finger, you must know. So remember the name, common flexor sheath, formed by the 4 tendons of the flexor digitorum superficialis and the tendons of the flexor digitorum profundus. Okay, so formed by, you must know this. Okay, So this was all about the cubital fossa and the carpal tunnel. I hope everything is clear now regarding this. Thank you.